First one from the New York Times 538 blog, statistician all-star Nate Silver will be joining us. And then tomorrow night, President Barack Obama. But still, these people get to see stuff. Nate Silver, the president of Statistician Stand. As you know, last night the presidential campaign headed to Hofstra University, where the candidates debated before a diverse town hall crowd of Long Islanders, ranging from Italian guys to other Italian guys to a Jewish guy and his mom. Such diversity in Long Island. The first question somehow ended up on the auto industry rescue.
And I know he keeps saying, you wanted to take Detroit bankrupt. Well, the president took Detroit bankrupt. You took General Motors bankrupt. You took Chrysler bankrupt. That was precisely what I recommended and ultimately what happened.
Well, okay. In fact, Obama's publicly financed Detroit auto industry managed bankruptcy is not precisely what Romney recommended. Romney precisely recommended private credit, which at the time was, to be precise, non-existent. Meaning under his plan, Detroit's bankruptcy would have been unmanaged and quite permanent. So the big question would be, which version of Barack Obama would respond? The first debate's Sleepy Time McGillicuddy or Pretty Talk Jones?
Candy, what Governor Romney said just isn't true.
It's alive! It's alive! Yes, President Barack Obama decided to attend this debate. And the two candidates could finally have a truthful, substantive discussion about how much they hate each other.
Governor, we have actually produced more oil.
No. How much did you cut licenses and permits on federal land and federal waters?
We can actually make a
production.
profit.
And production on government land is down.
No, it isn't.
Production on government land of oil is down 14%.
Governor,
And production on gas is down 9%. You'll get your chance in a moment. I'm still speaking.
Well,
And the answer is, I don't believe people think that's the case because that wasn't a question.
I believe you meant to add mother. Romney was sharp and drew blood.
He said that by now we'd have unemployment at 5.4%. The difference between where it is and 5.4% is 9 million Americans without work.
That's going to leave a mark. But for every point Romney made, the president made more.
Governor Romney was for an assault weapons ban before he was against it. Governor Romney doesn't have a 5-point plan, he has a 1-point plan. The math doesn't add up. I don't look at my pension, it's not as big as yours. Governor, you're the last person who's going to get tough on China.
The last person who's going to get tough on China is that guy, Romney. I mean, for God's sakes, Romney was assembled at Apple's Foxconn factory in Beijing. I mean, that's why he's so well designed. Romney had some other issues.
I don't believe that bureaucrats in Washington should tell someone whether they can use contraceptives or not.
Yeah, you should tell that to your disembodied voice that supported the Blunt Amendment, which does limit choice.
Of course I support the Blunt Amendment. I bet he's talking about some state law that prevented people from getting contraception. So I talked about contraceptives and so forth, so I really misunderstood the question.
Yeah, by the way, for those of you, let's say, in your dorm rooms right now, filling a large tube with water or carving an apple, whose ears may have perked up at the mention of a Blunt Amendment, it has nothing to do with that. And Romney had some odd moments, like when describing his efforts as governor to recruit more women for cabinet positions.
I went to a number of women's groups and said, can you help us find folks? And they brought us whole binders full of women.
Couple of things. One, the women's group was called MASCAP, and they approached Governor Romney, not the other way around. And two, my guess is they did not refer to what they presented as whole binders full of women, but perhaps referred to it as a well-organized collection of qualified resumes. But hey, binder of women, book of broads, notebook of nipples, whatever. But of course, Mitt Romney still had an ace in the hole. The Obama administration's confused handling of the consulate attack in Libya killed 4 Americans.
It was a terrorist attack, and it took a long time for that to be told to the American people. Whether there was some misleading or instead whether we just didn't know what happened, I think you have to ask yourself, why didn't we know 5 days later when the ambassador to the United Nations went on TV to say that this was a demonstration? How could we have not known?
Boom! Mr. President, you just walked into a mid-storm.
The day after the attack, Governor, I stood in the Rose Garden and I told the American people and the world that we were going to find out exactly what happened, that this was an act of terror, and I also said that we're going to hunt down those who committed this crime.
Forceful. Remind people that killing terrorists is kind of your thing. But still does not fully explain the colossal confusion-fueled ups that were Benghazi. As long as Romney doesn't inexplicably walk into some weird nitpicky semantic trap that hadn't even really been set.
I think it's interesting the president just said something which is that on the day after the attack he went to the Rose Garden and said that this was an act of terror.
Oh boy.
That's what I said.
You said in the Rose Garden the day after the attack it was an act of terror. It was not a spontaneous demonstration. Is that what you're saying?
Please proceed, Governor.
There's your first clue. When you feel you're about to spring what you, Governor Romney, think is the checkmate moment of the debate, and your debate opponent says to you, please, proceed. Hold on. Are you trying to open that door? Allow me to open it wide. The door that you appear to want to walk through. But when your opponent does that, you might want to take a breath and wonder if, a la Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, that door your opponent is pointing to is merely paint on a rock.
Please proceed, Governor.
I want to make sure we get that for the record because it took the president 14 days before he called the attack in Benghazi an act of terror.
Get the transcript.
He did, in fact, sir. So let me call it an act of terror.
Can you say that a little louder, Candy?
He did call it an act of terror. It did as well.
Can you say it a little louder, Candy? Can you say it a little louder? Now just the ladies. Can the ladies say it? Can I get a whoop? Please, Governor Romney, proceed. It was that kind of night for Romney. And the evidence of Obama's victory and resurgence was everywhere post-debate. MSNBC no longer seemed suicidal. CNN, of course, looked to be shooting a virtual dick-in-a-box video. And, of course, Fox News, well...
And the questions, there were 11 of them, 6 were clearly pro-Obama. I think it was softballs.
Topics that we haven't heard much about.
3 extra minutes for Obama.
Moderators in these debates should be part of the furniture.
Did she assist the president?
Mid-sentence to fact-check him through the president of Lifeline.
It's the worst debate moderation.
What the heck is that about?
No. Don't help them. Just let them cry themselves to sleep. It's the only way they'll learn. We'll be right back.